You know, the name Swampbeast is remarkably appropriate because I honestly feel as if I have been dragged into the swamp and beaten to death by an actual swamp beast after having listened to this astonishingly heavy and disgusting debut album. We're still pretty early into 2021, but so far the year has been pretty good for death metal. We've seen some seriously nasty fucking music from Asphyx, Gatecreeper, Frozen Ice, Fractal Generator. We've still got some big records on the way from Abiotic, Brand of Sacrifice, Cannibal Corpse, Sanguiskabog, or however the fuck their name is pronounced. Lots of gross, nasty, hellish tunery. No doubt about that. But of all of these records, the one I have been anticipating the most is in fact this debut album from Swampbeast. In part because they've received a glowing endorsement from Adam Schellenbach of the Vital Vinyl Vlog, who, as far as I'm concerned, is a true underground death and extreme metal connoisseur. But also in part because I genuinely feel comfortable saying that Swampbeast is perhaps one of the darkest and most flexible underground death metal bands out there. The album is so incredibly bleak and violent, almost apocalyptically dark at times. As the band say even in this press release, "Seven evils spawned of seven heads is our combined view of the world, what we see as destined for mankind as well as our own outlet for the things we can't stand about society. We're fed up with the current system of things, being led and lied to by pedophiles, racists, and killers. The world eats at itself. Two of us had near-death experiences years ago. We can't help but reflect on these moments and let our survival drive us forward." As such, the album is immediately and consistently so savage, so uncompromising, so unrelenting, almost as if they're trying to prove some kind of point with every single lyric, with every single note that emerges from your speaker. And helping those points stick is a remarkably diverse palette of influences, not just from across the death metal spectrum, but from across the extreme music spectrum as a whole. There's influence from black metal, there's influence from grindcore, there's influence from death, doom, and sludge metal. There's influence from bands such as Cannibal Corpse, Carcass, Behemoth, Bolt Thrower even at times. It is so visceral, it is so murky, it is, no pun intended, so fucking thick and swampy. This album is practically marinating in its own hate, in its own bile, in its own disgust, nihilism, and outrage. Making for not just an incredible debut album chock full of deliciously sour death metal, but quite possibly the best death metal album I've heard so far in 2021. Opening track Orc's Anvil has some very blunt, malicious, straight-to-the-point black and death metal, cutting through mud and grime and slime and pus. It is the sonic equivalent to that scene in The Lord of the Rings where Saruman literally creates orcs and summons them out of the fucking earth. The track Convulsing in the Shit in the Piss of Man manages to find this remarkably disgusting yet beautiful balance between the chaos, the noise, and the frantic energies of black metal, grindcore, and old school American death metal. It's got some seriously spicy fucking black and death and grind riffery all throughout, with some pummeling percussion that could absolutely bring down the heavens themselves if given the opportunity. The track 1000 Years of Pestilence stands out as perhaps one of the most grueling and agonizing cuts on the record, with some incredibly lethargic, droning sections covered in slime and pus and static and grit. The atmosphere, the apocalyptic aura on this thing is so thick you could cut it out of the air with a knife. As the track moves forward as well, it begins to blossom into a very stinky and pungent little flower, with this very powerful kind of bolt thrower-esque charge and percussion behind it. transitioning then quite seamlessly into the mold and maggot-encrusted Trudging Through Oblivion, which embraces pure sonic hellfire and insanity. If Watain ever decided to make a grindcore track, I'm pretty certain it would sound at least a little bit like this motherfucker. The ending of this record is genuinely kind of fascinating as well, because it almost seems to imply that the album, much like the Earth itself right now, is in some kind of never-ending funk. You can hear faint ghastly screams in the distance. You can hear some kind of liquid, I don't know what, dripping from the ceilings. You can hear almost what appears to be a cauldron bubbling. And it maybe transitions a little bit too well into the official introduction of this album, the aforementioned Orc's Anvil, almost as if this track is giving birth to the aforementioned orc creatures that we talked about before. And considering how much real-life personal pain, trauma, agony, and misery went into the development and production of this album, I can't help but think to myself, maybe this isn't a coincidence. I'm also frankly just amazed by the overall production value of this thing. I mean, it sounds fucking amazing. The drums are fucking gigantic. The bass is so thick and earthy. The guitars are covered in slime and God knows whatever fucking bodily fluids, and yet remains so crushing, so razor sharp at times. For an album that has been apparently marinating in its own literal and figurative shit to sound this fucking clean, this fucking clear, this good, is nothing short of remarkable. Man, I'm just fucking floored by this thing, honestly. From start to finish, it is a roller coaster of disgusting, nasty, apocalyptic death metal. It's a rotten smorgasbord of everything wrong with the world and everything right with extreme music. Ripe with incredible performances, incredible songwriting and songcraft, and incredible production, to the point where I feel more than comfortable just saying, this album's fucking incredible. 4.5 out of 5. Swampbeast have just knocked it out of the fucking park on this thing. I've already heard a lot of death metal in 2021, and I can very honestly say that of everything I have heard, this is my favorite death metal album of the year so far. So thoroughly fucking gross and so extremely entertaining from start to finish. On my second playthrough of this first album, I legitimately had trouble containing myself. I just wanted to get up and start flipping some shit and start punching motherfuckers left and right. I just bought a brand new fucking couch and I was ready to fucking flip it. Flip it in the air like the Hulk flipping a fucking car. And to anyone who doubts what I have to say, to anyone who would argue I am overhyping this, or perhaps I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, I challenge you to find something as revolting, as punishing, as brutal, and as thought-provoking, and as poignant, and as pungent as this fucking album. I fucking challenge you. I will give you my fucking email. You can send it to me fucking directly. That is how fucking confident I am that this is the best death metal album of 2021 so far. What more can I fucking say, folks? It's just a seriously incredible fucking record. 4.5 out of 5. I cannot wait to jam the fuck out of this on vinyl. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be. So what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.